Hey guys, how's it going? Iissham here, and today we're going to be analyzing another viewer's gameplay. This comes from the boy Mentos. He submitted this to me a while ago, so I apologize that I'm only getting around to analyzing this now. But he wanted me to look at three things specifically when it came to this video. He wants to kind of find out the main cause on why they lost the game, what he could have done better to maybe ensure that his team gets the W, and he wants to know if his partner was actually putting out enough pressure to begin with in the game. So those are going to be the three things that we are going to look at. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video, as well as comment, tell me something about yourself. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm because I'm going to be looking to pick more viewers, trying to analyze more gameplay. I want this to be the main feature of the channel as opposed to just high level gameplay moving forward. So with the intro out of the way, let's jump into our boys video. Alright, so jumping into the video, our boy is going to be playing some of that Rsham Arms Warrior composition versus a Holy Pally Arms Warrior. Now, Rsham Arms Warrior is a pretty good comp. Unfortunately, Shamans are not typically great in 2v2, especially right now in the current meta that is dominated by Holy Pallies, Disc Brews. Even Wrestle Druids, I would say, are better than Shamans in 2v2 right now. But with that being said, you can definitely win, especially in a mirror like this. You're going to have to focus on getting lots of hexes in order to get the win. So let's see how this game plays out. So right now it looks like our boy is just opening up with a Fleshcraft. He did not pop his Earthen Ellie for the more HP, which is okay. Now this was before people are actually level 30 renown, so you couldn't use it to avoid CC. So what he is doing right now is actually the preferred way to use Fleshcraft. Just use it at the start of the arena, get that shield up, and then reapply it later on in the match. So the warrior's already in there looking to do some damage. We do get a root on the warrior right now. I'm not sure if that is super necessary right off the bat because we aren't sure if the warrior is going to attack his partner or if the warrior is going to look at hitting the Resto Shaman over here. So overall, it doesn't matter that much, but it's just one thing to consider. So we get the double cap. Now, what I would do personally in a situation like this is wait for your warrior to Stormbolt. So if I were you guys, I would bolt the healer, not worry about going and getting a cap right away because cap is pretty inconsistent even though you do get a nice double stun there. I mean, the MMR for this game I believe is around 1400, so not really a surprise that these players did not kill the stun. But what I would do is have your warrior bolt the healer and then stun off that just so the duration is longer. Another strat that you can do into teams like this is I would probably personally start the warrior because chances are the warrior is going to be battle stance the majority of the game, not really thinking too much about longevity, especially around that 1400 in the 2v2 bracket. So I think how I would start this off would have your warrior bolt the opposing warrior, fear the Holy Pally, and then you can look to hex the Holy Pally off the fear. If anything, he's probably going to trinket the fear into a full hex, so that's going to let you guys generate a lot of pressure, probably force parry, things like that. Also, if both DPS are stunned right here, or both opposing players are stunned, your warrior does not need to be in defensive stance because he won't be taking any damage anyways. So I would just remind your warrior to look for windows where he should be in battle just to do a little bit more damage. So we go for a hex on the warrior after the cap. I think that is a good play. Kind of lucky that your warrior on your team did not break it with Bladestorm. But regardless if it was going to break, he did trinket it anyways. So I already have the warrior trinket out of the way, which is awesome. And we forced Holy Pally Bop there. So what I would be doing in a situation like that is look to the Holy Pally. So you go for the Hex on the warrior. Regardless if he trinkets or not, you should be trying to contribute to the kill. So you have Flame Shock up on the Holy Pally, but you need more than that. Try to put Frost Shock on if your warrior's not using Hamstring, and just try to clean the Holy Pally all game so you can look to instantly purge Divine Favor, you can instantly purge Bop, and Freedom if he uses it to try to kite and get mobility, or I'm sorry, kite and create distance. Now, the warrior's running over here, he is disarmed. I would just toss Earthbind out on this warrior right over here just to slow him, or throw a Frost Shock on him as well. You are also playing short Hex, so you could Hex him DR as well, which would be okay. So you toss out the Earthbind, that's good. Now you're just trying to chase over. So what I would do, you do get the full Hex on the warrior. Be careful with going for full Hexes. I know this is 1400, but if you just go for a free Hex like that, and if he does decide to push Reflect and you get reflected on, that is going to put your team pretty far behind. And you're lucky it didn't happen to you, but it's just one thing to consider. Don't be so careless with your Hexes. So you do get your warrior does get a nice kick on the Holy Pally. You are playing kind of far away. I would like you to play a little bit closer just so you can help out with the kill. And we have to be aware of cooldowns too. So like the warrior has no trinket, he has no parry. The Pally was just kicked. What I would like to do, especially because you're playing no cooldown Hex, is just Hex the Pally. Try to type to your warrior even would be good. And just Hex the Pally, swap to the warrior with a bolt, and just kill the warrior. So this warrior is Venthyr, you get a nice full root on him. Now again, we are being pretty careless with our Hexes. Now I'm not sure if you're actually tracking if he has Reflect or not, I don't think you are. But with that being said, I would also have waited a little bit with your Hex. I mean, you got a good root on the warrior, and you rooted him like right here. So let's just pause this. This warrior is 100% out of LOS of the Holy Pally. He's right here, and the Holy Pally is over here with your warrior. So I would let this root sit almost the full duration. Maybe you start casting a Hex with 2 seconds left, and then that way you get more value. Also, another thing that you can do, you should have Cap coming up right away, I believe. I can't find your stun totem, but what I would do too, when there's 2 seconds left to root, drop a Cap on him, and then just run this way around the pillar and try to help out your warrior who is 1v1ing the Holy Pally right now, and just put this guy out of the game. The warrior's going to leap to you, he's going to try to come back in combat, he's probably going to try fearing, and then after that, look for a Hex on the warrior if your guy is still going to try to kill the Holy Pally. So you're throwing Lava Bursts out, that's great, but you need to try to purge the Holy Pally more, because I mean, this right here, it's what is this, a little hot? And I forget what this does as well, but these are just like trash debuffs that help protect the Pally's freedoms, helps protect Bop, Divine Favor, things like that, and you need to purge them. Also, one thing why I think it's hard for you to actually do offensive goes on the Holy Pally and help your warrior is because you're not using any focus macros right here. So I think if you bind some keys to be able to put these guys on focus, I think that would help a lot. So that way you don't actually have to de-target your warrior, and you can just worry about healing him, and then you can just push focus abilities to like focus purge the Holy Pally, focus flame shock, things like that, and it would be way more efficient. and I think you should actually look into that. Because, yeah, the Holy Pally, he just goes, gets a freedom, and even if you click on him to target him to try to purge, it'd be too slow, and now the Holy Pally is just going to run away. And now we're just doing laps. So you get a full root on the warrior again. He is out of LOS of the Holy Pally. So there's no reason to go for a quick hex like that as well. I don't think he has Blade Storm. He definitely doesn't have Spell Reflect Bound, which is good for you guys. So there's no reason for you to not let him sit that full root. So instead of 8 seconds of CC, or instead of like 16 seconds of CC, he's only sitting 8. So you do get full Hodge there, and you decide to wall. I'm not sure if I like that wall, honestly. It seems like a little bit of an overreaction, considering the warrior wasn't even touching you. It was just all the Holy Pally. And I'm pretty sure you can survive the Holy Pally damage as well. And I know it's hard to use this because the warrior's just chasing the Holy Pally the whole entire game. But try to use your Earthen Wall and get value out of it. Especially the deeper the game goes into dampening, the less value you're going to get out of it. So it's really good to try to rotate it early, as well as try to use your Mana Tide Totem as well. Like, I know mana isn't a problem, but just start cycling that and just keep your lead on mana. So you drop a cap. I'm not really sure if I like that cap because it was dear on the Holy Pally. It probably would have been best to wait a little bit and like just totem and then root them and then run away. Your warrior is taking some damage. You do decide to totem, that's fine. 2 healing surges, you go for a third. Make sure in situations like that, when you don't have to worry about getting interrupted, that you actually use Unleash as well. Wait, did I just go for it? So yeah, your warrior did super low off that. You're just putting the healing wave, you get your Riptide on, that's good. But yeah, so in a situation like that, just use your Unleash. It's going to make your healing surge do a bunch more healing, especially for crits. Also, in a situation like that, you should use your healing stream. So you should Riptide, healing stream, then Unleash, and then you get a super duper charged healing surge because you're going to have your swirling currents, you're going to have the modifier from your unleashed weapon as well. So that's just a way you can min-max your healing. So we go for a full hex on the warrior with a few seconds left on disarm, that's totally okay. And then if we didn't waste our cap, we could have capped off that Stormbolt. You also need to use Wind Shear. I mean, this was probably one of the first times that the Holy Pally was right in your LOS, but there's no reason you shouldn't have kicked there. You weren't stunned, and nobody's under pressure right now. So this is why I would suggest you have, and it looks like you have Shear 1, 2, 3 at the bottom right here. So there's no reason why you shouldn't have kicked him there. So instead of him being at like 20k health, because he gets out of that, goes to 30k. So he dips down to 22k health, and if you would have kicked him, you guys would have generated a whole lot more pressure, especially because your warrior is bolted, so he can't kick anyways, and then you go, and then your warrior gets a kick after that. So you go for a DR hex on the warrior, not bad. Go for one more hex, I'm okay with that. That's what you should be doing a little bit more. Let's see, does a warrior have fear? No, he doesn't, but they do have a blind, and they break it instantly with Cleave Condemn. So in a situation like that, where you see that your warrior is chasing the healer, and he might potentially go out of LOS, use your Ore Mastery right here, just so you can continue to kind of follow your warrior around so he doesn't leave your LOS so you don't get interrupted there. Because they had no CC for you, but you still had to stop casting your heal, right? Because he was out of LOS. And then you have to move, and you have to move again. But if you had your Spirit Walkers up, you wouldn't have to deal with that. Force a trinket on the warrior, not bad. Your warrior is getting eviscerated right now. Now, I haven't actually been counting, but you have not been using your Unleash basically at all. Like, you should be using your Unleash off cooldown. So you use your Maldraxxus ability. Also, you don't have Water Shield up. I just noticed that now because I was not paying attention to it. But make sure you have your Water Shield up and you cycle through your Mana Tide just so you don't lose on mana. Because like your lead was a lot bigger before and now it's starting to diminish. Use your totem, that's an okay use. He's looking for a fear. I would root this warrior back here. Nice, and he should be stuck. He could fear you though while you walk away. And now you use your Spirit Walker's Grace, kind of weird. But it's good that you use it, and you still haven't pushed Unleash. Like, even if you're not taking pressure or anything, you need to use your healing abilities, or like, why use that talent? If you don't use Unleash, you'd be better off with Undulation. Okay, there we go, we have Unleash. That's the first Unleash that I've seen. I'm gonna write it down. So you root the warrior full, he does Bladestorm that. He Bladestorms that, I would probably push wall. So we wall a little bit late. So you're just spamming healing surges on yourself, that's fine. The warrior comes back to try to help you out, he hamstrings them for you. And now I would just Ghost Wolf away. Like, you're just jumping like a bunny, but you need to jump like a wolf in your Ghost Wolf form instead. So you go Ghost Wolf now when you're really low. You decide to use Unleash, casting those healing surges. Gets a double fear, it doesn't matter because the warrior Zerkers it instantly. He comes back, disarms the warrior for you. Bolts him as well. Now you should look for a Hex. But the one time... So now you get a left kick. You can maybe think about using Ascendance. Keep her shield up on yourself. The warrior has no kick. I would just go for a straight up Hex on him. And if he lets it sit on you, that's fine. The Paladin hodged into grounding, which is really good for you. I'd probably drop Totem right now. I'd probably drop Totem and then Ascendance. So you get kicked. I would still probably Ascendance, and because you're cutting out a Totem now. You ascend at 4k health. He spears the warrior, which is really good for you. Spears his charge, which is really good for you. This warrior is saving your butt. You use Mana Tide now, you realize that your mana's getting a little bit low. I would swap Earth Shield to yourself because this guy is committing to you quite heavily. And try to juke the kicks. Like, if you see that he's charging to you, just stop casting. Because that's how you're getting pummeled a lot, is left kick or interrupt. And it looks like your might go down. You have intervene though, so you should be 100% fine. Now, one thing though, is when you have intervene, you don't want to run away from your warrior, because then it actually takes away from the effects of intervene. So now you decide to go for a kick when he's charging at you again, and then all that stuff falls and you do go down. So the question that was asked, and you thought that you played fairly well. Now, I don't want to be that guy, but there is lots and lots of mistakes that I saw here that are typically common at lower MMRs. So while generally you have pretty good awareness of the game, you need to utilize all of your shaman toolkit. So You're not looking for hardly any purges on the Holy Pally, so no purges. You're not looking for any shears on the Pally. And with how your team is playing, you want to be able to try to assist for the kill. As well, when you're under pressure, you do crumble a lot, I've noticed. So when the warrior started going on you, that's when the game felt really, really hopeless for you. There's lots of situations that at the very start of the game, the warrior was hitting the opposing warrior, you're getting a lot of hexes on him, and I think that's why he decided to go you to try to stop those hexes. But there's lots of times when your warrior came back, he disarmed the opposing warrior, he stunned the opposing warrior with no trinket. You need to get a follow-up hex on that CC. Even if you are at 10k health, if the warrior is in a full Stormbolt or a disarm with no way of breaking it and the pally is not there, it is literally impossible for you to die. So you need to look for hexes on the opposing team, even when you are under pressure, and look for good hexes. So sometimes you go for a hex, you get kicked from like a charge or something like that, and he doesn't have a stun follow-up for you, and then you just kind of sit there and don't do anything. You should immediately go for another cast. Another thing that you should min-max is when you get locked out, look to use your Fleshcraft because you can use that when you're locked out. Look to use your other Maldraxxus ability, Primordial Wave, because you can use that when you're locked out. You can use Ascendance when you're locked out, so keep that in mind. Same with Battlemaster and Mana Tide. At the start of the game, you need to have Water Shield on yourself and just rotate through Mana Tide so you don't feel like you're struggling on mana. Because if you have a lot of mana, it gives you more opportunities to be aggressive and feel more confident about the game. As well as remember to use all of your toolkit, right? There's a lot of times where you weren't using Unleash, and Unleash should be one of the first heals that you use all the time. Like, I think you've used it maybe 5 or 6 times that whole entire game, and it was like a 6 or 7 minute game. So again, keep that in mind going forward. And I know this was kind of delayed on my analysis, so maybe I've improved on a bunch of this stuff, but these are just the things that I've noticed. So overall, I think your warrior did a pretty good job. I think your strat could have been better. You probably could have gone the warrior the whole game and got away with it. Just going for bolts on warrior and hexes on the holy pally, I think would have netted you the win, and that's a lot safer strategy. But going the holy pally definitely can work, but you need to be there to assist your warrior. Going for purges on freedoms, on divine favors, using kicks on the holy pally, using frost shock slows on the holy pally so you can't get away. So those are just some things to consider, and I hope this helps you out. And not only you, but I hope lots of Wrestle Shamans look at this and think, oh yeah, I can also work on that as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and there's going to be a lot more demo reviews next week. I'm actually partnering with a demo reviewing website that I'm going to talk about more in the coming days, so look out for that. And it'll just make sharing VODs a lot easier and more streamlined so we can do it all using the same medium. So I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis, and I will talk to you guys later.